is day 23. In this episode, I'm going to be looking at the washroom. Compact living, small home office build with the integrated washroom. So if you're following this series, I'm basically taking you through the steps of me making this home office. I decided to have a little bit of a washroom area, and during the episode you saw me building, you saw us having this built for me. And now we're going to be looking at what's going in the washroom. So it's nothing complicated. It's a very simple setup. I will walk you through the process in this episode of the shower tray, tiling, the floor, in general, what you need to think about when you're making a washroom. So in general, the space you need is determined by what you want in there. First here, you'll see the shower tray. Now we need a firm base for the shower tray to sit upon because the drain is below the wash system of the shower tray. So here you'll see a timber structure being constructed on the floor. We've got a cement solid ground floor. Then we apply some plywood. Where possible, try and get marine plywood because that's better at moisture retention, or what's the opposite of moisture retention? Yeah, whatever that is. So it doesn't take up moisture, basically. It's resistant to moisture. So that was the first stage of creating the base, a firm solid base. And this space, it's 1100 millimeters wide. That's about 2.5 foot, about 3 foot, isn't it? 24, 48. Yeah, so work that out in millimeters, from inches to feet to different types of measurements. So you'll see the shower tray was custom designed to fit into this area. We made sure to leave enough space so we can have a nice wide shower system. I'm using the widest point of the back wall, screwing down the plywood and having that in a firm place, then using some Gorilla Glue grip silicone type situation to hold the whole system down. So what you need to do is position where your drain hole is going to be and then cut out for that system. So you'll see that it comes down and then it all sits in place. You want it to have a slight tilt towards the drain. So if the drain's in the far corner, a slight slope towards that would be good. Some of these are built in that way to allow you to have the water drain out. So you'll see that it's just measuring up to see where the drain system goes and then using a drain pipe, which then all fits into the drainage system. So if you remember in the earlier episodes when the foundations were being laid, we left a good gap, about a foot worth of gap all the way along one side of the wall, and that's where all the pipes are going down now. So they're all going to be hidden away in the ground. And we also are planning to have a small kitchen area, like a washroom with the kitchen attached to the back. And the kitchen, when I say kitchen, I'm talking like a unit with maybe a white microwave, a kettle, facilities for water, so like a hot and cold water. And that's what we're leaving this pipe here for. So the sink will be on the other side of this wall. We've got a hot and cold there, and that's just to cover all bases. So if we need to have a cup of tea, or we need to wash something, or get a drink, or throw something through the sink with water, or wash something, then it's an option to be set up at this point. Because remember, this is a full structure, of a full home structure. And you'll see I'm positioning the toilet here. So anything you do right now, you want to think ahead. So if you need to think about putting additional things on, if all the pipe work is there, it'll be very easy for you to get a kitchen unit with a sink attachment and basically attach onto those drainage situations. So during your build, just foresee the future for the next 5 or 6 years if you're planning to do any adjustments, and see if you can prepare your home in a way that it lets you do that easily. So here we can have a little bit of a section with stoppers on there, so those are going to be hidden. But if I ever need the kitchen area or set it up, because remember, I haven't really solidly laid down what we need here. I know the washroom's going to be here, but the remaining home office area is quite a lot more space than I thought. And I'm also thinking about paint and the decoration inside, so that'll be a future episode, so stay tuned. So you'll see the washroom things are here, and you see the plasterboards on the wall and the skimming. It's still taking some time to dry because we're still in March, February. So to give you a real-time situation, I'm recording this while I'm doing the voiceover on the 5th of March. You're going to probably see this in a couple of days, and this was from about 5 days ago. So we're 5 days ahead of this video. The shower enclosure has been set up, the mixer tap's been included, the ground's been laid here to cement up the piping area. So all of that is something that you can consider when you're thinking about a home project. And remember, remember we started this in about 15th of January. So January, February, March. We're looking at about 3 weeks roughly at this stage, from ground to building an extension and then having all the pipe work done. So we also decided to have an outside pipe. So you see the drainage all links into the existing drain pipe, down pipe to go into the drain. And I wanted an extra pipe outside. So remember I talked about for thinking anything you need. When you come home with muddy shoes from walking the dog, it's a good idea to have a tap outside. You can just wash off your feet or have some water access above a drain, and save you going in the mucky feet inside the house and having to wash them again. So little things like this are handy, and while they're doing it, it's not like much of a hassle for the builder to do this. You just stick out a cold water tap out the side. You could even have a hot if you have a foam cover over your tap so it doesn't freeze over in winter. And these are all things that I thought about. So you'll notice during this I said to him I want a water facility for hot and cold mixing shower for the unit, the shower unit, the mixer tap. I want a cold water for the toilet flush. I want a hot and cold for the sink in the toilet. I want you to leave an extra pipe outside for the hose pipe and washing outside, and also want you to leave extra hot and cold for the kitchen area and a drain pipe for the kitchen. So you'll see all these things were pre-thought of, that if I need them, they're there. It's a nice to have. In worst case scenario, if I was to get a plumber out to do some of this again, we would have to probably have the pipes visible along the wall, and he'll have to join, and it'll probably a couple of £100, 100 to £200 to have these extra attachments added. And while he's here, at most I think it must have cost him material wise probably £11-12 worth of like pipe. Is only like a 2-foot pipe coming out here. The tap I already had, which is from my old tap that used to be outside, is a brass tap. You also pop to get some tiles, and you'll see a number of tile options that I looked at. I didn't want anything fancy. I wanted it to be like sleek and normal design. We saw some large tiles, like wide 2-foot by 1-foot tiles, and that's kind of what I went with. This was a bit too intense, but the one I went with is like a marble effect, and it's got a ripple effect on it. So see this, it looks like water's on there. So that was nice. So it's £10.95 a pack, and we ended up taking 6 packs. So you can have about 60 odd quid for tiles, and then the grout and the mix and all that stuff as well. And self-leveling compound was on special deal, so we got a couple of bags of that to level out the floor for when we put the laminate flooring down. So if you're not already following this series, I'm basically doing out this whole entire thing. There's a tile. I think it looks quite nice. It's like a marble effect, but it's got ripples in it, and it's a large big piece. Overall, not too shabby. This is the mix for the mortar, so it's using self-adhesive. No, not self-adhesive. We bought powdered stuff. It's not too difficult. You can get pre-mixed tubs of this. It's a little bit more expensive, but if you get the powder yourself, you can mix it in batches and get the tiling going. So you gave it a layer there of this waterproof type membranes to give it like a good adhesion, and then you started laying the tiles up on the wall. So in total, we looked about 7 tiles up one wall, and about cut-off pieces as well. So the shower's going to be attached here, remember? So yeah, overall, you know, it's coming along nicely. I'm not too sure about how we tile this though. Let me know in the comments if this is how you do it. He leveled it off to the shower tray to make sure all the water goes inside the tray, and it looked okay, nothing too fancy, but I think normally they put it on like on the wall and do like a grid pattern with the grill thing, you know, the what you call it, like a big scraper, the one they use for plastering, that thing. And normally you like push it onto that, but he's putting like dabs in the back of the tile. I'm assuming it's the same kind of scenario. When you push it on, it smudges against the wall and is a tight squeeze, and then it'll be all grouted as well. So overall, it's like one full 2-foot tile and then another 1.5 foot. So what's that? That's over 3 foot, isn't it? Yeah, because 3 foot's about 90 centimeters, isn't it? 30 centimeters is a foot. Yeah, so 12 inches is a foot. Also 30 centimeters is a foot. So 30, 30, 60. 60 and 30 is 90. That's 3 foot. And this is like 1100. So we're just over 2.5, 3.5 foot wide. And that's plenty of space. It could have been a little bit narrower, but because it's so small, I wanted enough space in here. So if you're thinking about a washroom area, you want about 2 foot for your toilet. You want about 2 foot for your sink, as in from the entire space I'm talking about. Like the toilet's in the middle, you want 2 foot either in front of it. Think about a box. If you have a 2-foot square box, the toilet can sit inside that basically. He did a cutout with the angle grinder for the mixer taps, which he did quite a decent job of. Took out little squares and then pushed them on. And this process took about half a day, about 3 hours worth of work here, and he left them to dry and then he grouted them the next day. So this is, again, I'm giving you these in days of work, but there has been more time that's passed. So you'll notice as the project's coming along towards the ending now, my videos are a little bit more spaced out. As the work was being done quickly, I was getting, like, in a week I was getting 3 videos made, as in recent developments of what's going on actively as it's going on. But in this week, the half days have been doing, like, so for example, on a Monday I'll do a half day in the morning, and then Tuesday I'll do a half day, whereas I think if you spend 2 days solid, all of the work could have been done. So it didn't need as much, I don't think it needed as much time as he took. But I think as with builders, you'll find this, as they come towards the end of a job, they start adding on like other jobs. So they want to obviously be in continuous work. So it makes sense for their planning to have another job already planned up, so they're not sitting around on their hands when this job finishes. So you just have to put up with that. Originally they said it'll take 8 weeks to complete this entire build, and he built in his times for that. So at the moment I'm on about 6.5 weeks. So already I'm ahead of where they think it should have been, and there's a couple of more things left to do, and I'm anticipating in the next 2 days, 3 days, the doors will be on and then they'll be out of here basically. So the majority of the work's being done. You'll notice when they put the tiles on, I made sure when I went with him to get the beads, so the end beads and the grout, and then the shower tray is 1100 mil as well. So in a future episode you'll see the shower tray. Along with these kind of things, it's down to your choice, but you can have some fancy stuff, you can have some basic stuff. In the end it looked okay. It's like reasonable. It's a sleek finish, contemporary modern finish. So it'll be a silver frame aluminium shower, and the grouting looked quite okay. So at the moment it hasn't been grouted yet, but it's slowly getting to a point now where the final touches are coming on, and the floor's got to be cemented up. So in a future episode you'll see that as well. You can see in the pinned comments and in the show description links to articles to support this and what you can think about when you're doing this type of build, and questions to ask builders. Overall the tiling wasn't too bad. He followed the lines along. You'll see it's like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and a bit tiles high, and then he mixed those and used those little stoppers to keep the gap genuine across all of it. And then the day after is when he grouted it. So this will be like a couple of days worth of work. If it was me, I would have waited a couple of hours and grouted it, because the stuff used to adhesive it was quick drying. And this is the white grout he's used. So with the grout, you basically mix it to a consistency and pushed it into the gaps with like a scraper and a smudgy type tool. And that was another morning's worth of work. Overall, it's like, these little things like this take a little bit longer. Could the finishing have been better? Maybe. But overall, it's kind of getting to a place now where we're getting towards the end of this system. I'm going to be putting lino down on the floor for this washroom area, because it's going to be easy to clean. I could, if in theory, add like tiles on the floor, but I didn't want to go any fancy with it. I think a lino would be okay below the toilet and the sink, because it's only maybe 7 foot by 3.5 foot wide of lino, so it'd be like a small piece. We can get a nice cream color maybe, or like it depends what's available. So the grouting was done and all of that system was set up. Overall it's coming along nicely, and in future episodes I'm going to be thinking about other bits and bobs. So things like the kitchen area. Remember I mentioned I went to IKEA to have a look at some kitchens, because all it's going to be is like maybe I've got 1600 millimeters worth of space on the back end of this wall. So I'm thinking a 1000 unit and a 500 unit would be sufficient, and some worktop area on top of that. So you can have a look here. He kind of went around and then he went through and pushed in the grout. There's little bits there that he wiped off afterwards. But yeah, out of a 10, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. If he had a bit more attention to detail, I would have given him a 10. But I think I've noticed that a couple of people have also commented, so thank you for all the comments. Not all of them have made them on the videos, but I have read them, so thank you for that. But yeah, some good information that's been shared, and it's like if you get general builders, they're going to be good at most things and going to be okay. They're not specialists in their field. It's just getting stuff done, and as work is being done, they're moving along to the next task, doing it to the best of their ability and carrying on. So overall, rating the builders in terms of the work they've done, the brickwork was good, the floor insulation was good, and the slabbing outside was good. What else was good? The electrics were good because they put some electrics in. So the next episode you're going to see is going to be electrics as well. So they're putting in all like the sockets and the fuse board and all that stuff to separate this from the house as a separate switching unit. You'll see he's using like a back of a screwdriver type drill bit to just, you know, push the stuff in. So he hasn't got the correct tools, but does it do the job? Yeah. So I don't know. Two minds about that. Obviously, you can have all the tools and no idea, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, overall, not a bad finish. It needs washing up and stuff, but once it's all siliconed in, it will do well. And there's going to be bits of lights and stuff as well, which you're going to see in the next episode. So make sure if you're not already following, follow the series, and you'll see all the electrical stuff going on. You see where the beads are. There's still like a bit of like gaps there I can see, but I think it's because the tiles are wavy. It makes it more apparent. So this is a quick preview of like the lighting and stuff going on. So there's a light here, waterproof light, and also a fan that sucks up air out of here. When the light comes on, the fan comes on. So that will help with like all the moisture from the shower and, well, any smells and stuff in the toilet. I'm not planning to use this a lot, but having the option there, it's always nice to have this type of thing, because we can even use it for home office. Like if we bring Max home, I can wash him in the shower or something if we have to. So, you know, there's spaces there. There's a look at the join. He joined it on the side of the soil pipe, and then that's going to be cemented in, and then the floor is going to all be even. So he uses some sand and cement, like similar to what he did in the previous room, just to firm up the floor, and then self-leveling compound will go on top and give us a good key area to put the floor on. So overall, we're doing quite well at the progression on this. If you're enjoying the episodes, thank you for following along, and I appreciate all the comments and all the advice as well. It's always great to hear the opinions. So you'll see here, slowly kind of put that floor down, and cement dried over a few days. In the next episode, we're going to be seeing some electrical stuff going on, so that'll show up on screen now. I'll see you on that next episode. Thank you, and I'll see you on that.